today's lecture, we'll discuss performing a mail merge. We will be covering standard number 3, develop organizational communication skills through professional leadership, personal ethics, and customer/business relationships. Our essential questions for today is how do we properly format a business letter and how do we properly execute a mail merge? So today we're going to learn how to perform mail merge. And these skills will include setting up mail merge, executing a mail merge, merging a document with a different file format, and creating envelopes and labels. Our key terms today include chevrons, data source, database, file names, and main document. Mail merges are useful for creating multiple documents that have the same basic content and personalizing them for unique information from a data source. For example, a form letter sent to multiple customers using different recipient names and addresses. In essence, mail merges are used for internal and external correspondence, such as memos, labels, invitations, and more. To begin a mail merge, the main document is to set up for a new or an existing document. The main document contains text and graphics that are the same for each version of the mail merge document. The mail merge wizard is a step-by-step process in setting up the main document and then creating or using an existing list that can be a database, spreadsheet, table, or other source, and taking these two sources of information and merging it into one document. So now we will walk through the steps of setting up a main document using the Mail Merge Wizard. Click on a blank document. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the Mailings tab and we're going to hit Start Mail Merge and then the step-by-step Mail Merge Wizard. That will open on the right-hand side of our document, and we will begin the step-by-step. In the first step, we are asked what kind of document we are working on. And we're currently working on a letter. We'll select the type of document and then we'll hit Next. You can choose to use the current document, which would be this plain one here, or we can use a template, or we can start from an existing document. And in this case, we're going to use a student data file. So I'm going to click Start from an existing document. I will need to browse for that document, so I'm going to come down here to the Open tab. And I'm going to browse to the desktop, Student Assignments. We're going to go in Word 2013 Student Data Files, into Lesson 11 folder, and we are going to open the scholarship document. Now, once we've opened the document, we can hit the Next button. The next step will be to select the recipients of this letter. We will be using an existing list that was already created for us. The list can be typed in a Microsoft Word document, table, or tabbed columns, in an Excel spreadsheet, or an Access database. So we'll be using a pre-existing list that has already been set up for us. So we'll check the Use an Existing List button, and we'll need to browse to find that list. The Data Source dialog box will open for us to browse for the file. A data source is the file that contains information to be merged in the main document. A data source file, again, can be from an Excel spreadsheet, an Access database, or a Word document that is either typed in a tabbed columns or tables. It can also be used from an address book in Outlook. The data source will have any text that has data fields. A field name is provided a description for the specific data, such as the person's first name, last name, address, city, state, zip code to be merged into the data source. Fields usually correspond to the column headings in the data file. So we're going to browse and we're going to open up the student list uh, database file in the student assignments folder. So we're going to go back up and we're going to go to the desktop. We will then navigate to the student assignment folder and we'll open that up. We'll go into Word 2013 because that's what we're working in. We'll scroll down to Lesson 11 and we'll open that. And we will be looking for the student list file. Student list file. And we'll hit open. Now that we've opened the file, it will then ask us about our mail merge recipients. And because we're using an Access database file, we should remember that a database is a collection of information that is organized so you can retrieve information quickly. The student list file is a data source that will be merged with the letter in the document screen. And so our mail merge recipients dialog box open, and the check marks will indicate here who will be receiving this letter that we have made. If we can go through and look to see the possible recipients, and if we so choose, such as if Mindy does not need to receive this letter, we would uncheck her from this list. And so Mindy is going to receive this letter, so we're going to make sure that she has a check mark by her name. Once you check over the list, you would then hit the OK button. Now, the next step we are going to go into is step 4, which is writing your letter. So we'll go ahead over here and hit the next button. We are ready to write our letter, and so our insertion point is now on the first line of the document right up here. And there's a couple things that we can have Excel from the Access database that can be merged into our file. Those things include an address block, a greeting line. We can also include electronic postage, and then there are also more items that we can choose from. So on the first line of our document, we know that there needs to be the date. So I'm going to type in the date, which is September 10th, 2015. We know that it needs to have a space. The next part of our letter is the inside address, also known as the address block. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click address block. And it will give us a sample of what the address blocks will look like here. We can insert, we can choose how we want to insert the person's name if we want it to be their full name. Here are some examples. We can also choose how we want to insert the postal address and if we want to format the address according to the destination of the country. And then this is a preview of what it will look like. You can scroll through and see how it looks for all your attendees using the previous and next buttons. Once you've checked them, you can then hit OK. You'll notice I'm going to come up here to my mailings tab and hit highlight merge fields. And the reason I click that button is so that when I look at my document, I know what exactly is a merged in field from my database. It gives it a nice shade of gray. You'll also notate that when you insert merged field items, the beginning of the word is followed by 2 chevrons, and then the ending of the field is followed by 2 more chevrons. And this denotes that it is a merged field from our database. The next part that comes after our address block is the greeting line. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to select greeting line. And we can choose how we want our greeting line to look, whether we want it to say dear or to, and in this case we'll say dear. We can also choose how we want their name to appear. And in this case, I would like it to say Mr. or Ms. and their last name. We can also choose the punctuation, and I'm going to change it from a comma to a colon because that is the correct punctuation to use. Then it also gives us a preview. We can look how each name appears. Once we've checked the preview, we can hit OK, and you'll get a notice that the greeting line is now merged in. And so once we've merged in all of our parts from the database and we've checked over our letter, everything looks good. We are now ready to move on to the next step, step 5, which is to preview our letter. This will turn on the preview tab, preview button. It'll showcase what it looks like from the person's standpoint. We can also go up here and look at the different recipients and what their letter will look like. Okay. Once you've previewed your letter, you are ready to go and to complete the merge. Okay, there are two options for when you complete the merge. You can go ahead and print to straight print the letters from this document, or you can merge to a new document, which is what I'm going to do. It'll ask you what records that you want to include if you just want to include the current record, and we are currently on record 1. Or we can choose the numbers of which records that we want to choose, or we can use all. And in this case, I'm going to use all, and I'm going to hit OK. When you hit all, you'll notice a new window popped up. It's titled Letters 1. And now if we scroll through this document, all 10 recipients and their letters are here. This gives us a chance to go back through and read any particular person's letter. If we wanted to add something to someone's letter that might not be added to another person's letter, we can do that here. So this showcases that you have successfully edited this merge. We're going to save this. So you should go File, Save As, into your OneDrive, Houston County Board of Education. You'll want to navigate to your Missdale folder, and I'm going to navigate to my practice files folder. And we're going to save this as congratulations letter and hit save. Once you've done that, we can close this document. Once you close this document, it's going to take you back to the first document we were working on to execute the mail merge. We're also going to save this document into our Missdale folder. So go File, Save As, OneDrive, Houston County Board of Education. You will browse. The next thing you're going to select is your Missdale folder. And again, I'm going to use my practice files. And we're going to save this letter as merged. Congratulations letter. So this will let us know that we have successfully, this is the executed merge. Once we've saved this, we can go File, Close, and that will close out those files. All mail merges are executed basically in the same way. You can either do it with the step-by-step wizard or you can do it manually. And in this case, we're gonna practice to do it manually. So I'm gonna go File, New, and I'm gonna get a blank document. And to execute the mail merge manually, you would go up to Mailings, and instead of using Start Mail Merge, you would use Selecting Recipients, and you would choose an existing list. And I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to the Student Assignments folder on the desktop. And I'm going to navigate into the Word 2013 data files, Lesson 11, and I'm going to use the Excel spreadsheet student list, and I'm going to hit Open. When you use an Excel spreadsheet, it's going to ask you what particular sheet in that workbook you want to use. And in this case, there's only one sheet in that workbook, which is sheet 1. It's already highlighted for you. And then you will hit OK. When you do that, all the other options for your mail merge become available. And so now you can start to type your letter or a memo or email manually and going through and inserting an address block if you want, a greeting line if you want, or a specific field name as you go through. So for example, if I wanted to type Dear Mr. or Miss and their last name, I could just simply insert their last name from the mail merge field followed by a colon. This is how you would execute a mail merge manually is by using the Mailings tab and the different options that come available once you've selected your list. You can still edit your recipient list by clicking the Edit Recipient List button on the Mailings tab. It'll take you here. You can choose what particular recipients that you would like by checking or unchecking them. Your preview button is still available that you can choose to use and to preview what it looks like before you execute your mail merge. And to finish your mail merge, you would come up to the Finish Group, Finish Mail Merge, and then you would have your different options. You could edit the individual documents, which will create a new document, or you could strictly print the documents and that will send it to the printer. Or if you're using email, you can then send the email and it will connect to your Outlook account, which I have open down here, and it'll use that Outlook account to send the emails. Now, the lesson also talks about creating envelopes and labels, and they basically work in the same way. You can choose to create an envelope or a label. You can also choose to use the step-by-step mail merging wizard and or using it manually and selecting your list that way. There's two ways to execute a mail merge, either by the wizard or doing it manually. And I always tell students to find what way works most comfortable with them and execute the mail merge that way. To wrap this up, every business creates correspondence as part of its business transactions. It likes to most businesses will like to personalize this correspondence. When you personalize business correspondence, the letters and memos have a tailored touch. It personalizes these by entering names, company names, addresses, city and state, and zip codes. The business letters can be standardized and each individual can receive their own personalized copy. Learning MailMerge saves time from having to type each individual letter separately. And by using MailMerge command, you can save time and money from having to sort manually and typing the information manually. The skills that you should have learned today were how to set up a mail merge, how to execute a mail merge, how to merge a document with a different file format, and how to create envelopes and envelopes. At this time, you will want to begin your mail merge activities.